Hello, everyone. This is Michael Lowe and Isabella Phillips' presentation on 2-4, and our question was analyze how Frederick Jackson Turner's frontier thesis can be used to explain A, the end of Native American life as they knew it, B, how farming becomes a factory, and C, the rise of the populace. And we had to use the time period of 1861 through 1900. Our thesis is that Frederick Jackson Turner's thesis explains the effect that the frontier had on the end of traditional Native American life, the industrialization of farming, and the rise of the populace. The first part of our thesis is addressing the end of Native American life as they knew it. And there were two main ways that the Americans try to get rid of the Native American problem that they had when they wanted to expand west. One was literally pushing the Native Americans off their land, and this is shown in examples of the Trail of Tears, also known as the Indian Removal Act, and the Indian Wars. Since the Native Americans relied heavily on their environment to sustain themselves, and it impacted their tradition and culture greatly, being pushed off their land had a really negative effect on the Native Americans, and it made their way of life a lot harder. The second way that the Native Americans were kind of forced away as the United States of Americans moved west was enforced assimilation, and this is shown in the Dawes Severalty Act. And the forced assimilation basically made Native Americans forget their traditional ways of life and cultures and to become American and to live the American way, make money the American way, and contribute to American society in the normal way. The second part of our thesis was how the frontier thesis explains how farming becomes a factory. And the first part is the frontier thesis led to the passing of new legislation, such as the Homestead Act of 1963, which gave settlers 160 acres of land if they worked the land for 5 years. This, these acts, were impacted from the frontier thesis because the frontier thesis argued for the push west, and by incentivizing new settlers to move west and giving them these new opportunities to start a new life as a farmer. This kind of forced, I mean, not forced, but this kind of moved more people west. The second part of how the frontier thesis can be used to explain how farming becomes a factory is through new technology inventions. And these inventions, such as new types of plows, new types of tractors, better water drilling, and barbed wire that made cattle raising more efficient. These new technologies and inventions made farming a more guaranteed way to achieve success, and this created the incentivize of people who began moving west. The last part of our thesis was how it contributed to the rise of the populace, and Turner argued in his thesis that the frontier um, is for the men and women who are kind of down on their luck, are lower class, and they need a new start. Working in factories in the East has not worked out, and the frontier presents them a new adventure and a new way of life. And the Populist Party kind of fought for and stood for these lower class people. I mean, lower who had less money. So this led to like the homestead strikes, and it kind of just grew the populist platform as populist politicians kind of fought for the help of the lower class. In conclusion, the Turner thesis explains the effect the frontier had on foraging Americans, which is exemplified through the changes in Native American life, the way that farming became mechanized, and the Populist Party in the 1800s. Thank you all for listening to our presentation, and good luck on your testing.